Welcome fashion lovers. This jumpsuit is what we are going to be learning how to make today. So let's go straight to the point. We are going to use our pattern paper. We'll start by measuring the shoulder to bust measurement, the shoulder to under bust, and the shoulder to waist, shoulder to hip measurement. So I'm also going to measure on the other side of the paper so that the lines will be straight. So after marking down the measurements, I'm going to use a straight ruler and link the points. So this line I'm drawing is the shoulder to bust measurement. This one is the shoulder to under bust. This is the shoulder to waist measurement. And this is the shoulder to hip measurement. On the side of our paper, I'm going to leave out 6 inches before I start my measurements. This jumpsuit is a jumpsuit that has no waist cut. So we'll start by putting down our neck measurements. For this tutorial, I'm using 3 inches for the neck width and 3.5 for the neck depth. And I'm going to use my curve rule and draw the neckline. The next thing I will do is to measure the shoulder. Mark the shoulder plus ½ inch allowance. And I'm also going to link it up with a straight ruler. After taking off 1 inch for the shoulder slant or shoulder slope, I now measure my armhole. At the midpoint of the armhole line, I'm going to go in by ½ inch. And I'll draw my armhole curve using a curve ruler. And I'll also draw my shoulder slant. So that's the shoulder slant. The next thing I'm going to do is to input my bust span measurement. That's nipple to nipple measurement. And I'll draw it with a straight ruler. And I'm going to continue it down to the hip line. From the hip line, I go up by 2 inches, and on the waistline, I take out ½ inch on both sides of the dart line, and I connect it to the bust line, and also connect it to the 2 inches mark above the hip line, and that gives us our waist dart. On the hip line, I'm going to measure the hip circumference divided by 4 inches. And to get my crotch line, I divided the hip circumference measurement by 3 plus 1 inch. That is the hip circumference divided by 3 plus 1 inch to get the crotch measurement for my jumpsuit. So from the waist, I input my crotch measurement, and I'm going to draw a straight line. So this is the crotch line. On this crotch line, I'm going to measure my lap measurement divided by 2, and also my hip measurement divided by 4. So the first thing is I input my hip measurement divided by 4, and out of this line I'm going to extend it by 2.5 inches to get the crotch curve. So this is my crotch curve. On the hip line, I also mark my hip measurement divided by 4. On the waistline, I mark my waist measurement divided by 4, and I measure the dart intake and replace it by the side. So I'm replacing 1 inch. On the bust line, I'm going to input my bust circumference divided by 4, and we are going to connect this with a line. So we are moving to the lower part of the jumpsuit. We are going to look for the midpoint of these trousers. That is the lap measurement divided by 2, and then we look for the midpoint. And we are going to mark it straight down to the ankle. So we keep marking it right down to the ankle, and we are going to connect with a straight line. From my waistline, I'm going to measure my waist to knee. That's my waist to knee line. And on that line, I'm going to input my knee circumference divided by 2, and I mark half of the measurement on one side of the line and half on the other side of the central line, so that the measurements are balanced. So that's the knee measurement. And the same measurement I have on my knee, I'm going to put it at the ankle. From the ankle to the knee, I connect with a straight line. And from the crotch line to the knee line, I use a curve rule to connect it. So the next thing I'm going to do is to input the measurements for the back part. I'm going to use a bow marker here so that we know we can differentiate the front from the back pattern. So what I'm drawing now is the back neck, which is higher than the front neck. I'm also going to add my zip allowance at the center back. Take note, this line with chalk, with white chalk, is the center front, and the one I'm drawing with the bow marker is the center back. Since the jumpsuit is going to have a zipper at the back part. On the crotch line, I'm going to extend it by 2 inches. And on the crotch curve, I'll extend it upward by 1.5 inches. And I'm going to connect it with my curve ruler. So that is the back crotch curve, which ends at the hip line where my zipper allowance ends. So I'm going to continue adding sewing allowance for the back part. That is 2 inches right down to the ankle. And I connect with my ruler. Keep watching, dear viewers. Please kindly subscribe if you have not yet subscribed. Also click on the notification bell so that you are notified each time I upload a new video. Please do not forget to like, share and comment on the comment section. So at the side, I'm going to add a bust dart of 1 inch, and I'm going to add a sewing allowance of 1 inch or so. So I'm quickly going to cut it out, cutting the back part first. And after we have finished cutting the back part on the material, we are going to trim it off and cut the front part. So I'm going to slash through the dart line right up to the bust point so that we can close up our bust dart. So this is how I close the bust dart. And you can see that while closing the bust dart, the lower part of the jumpsuit is going to increase, is going to give it more volume to make the legs to be wide enough as seen on the style. So I'm closing the bust dart and I'm going to quickly place it on the fabric, and I've gone ahead and pin it down with pins. So we are adding more volume on the lower part of the jumpsuit by slashing it. So I'm quickly going to cut it. So after cutting this front part, we are going to trim off all the sewing allowance we added at the back part before cutting the front part. So I'm going to remove the pins and trim off all the allowance. So I'm trimming off the allowance that I added at the back part, trimming off the zip allowance and the neck. And then I'm going to place it on my fabric again, and this time around I'm cutting the front part. For this front part, I'm going to leave 1/2 inch sewing allowance at the center front. This is the center front. I'm going to leave 1/2 inch sewing allowance that I'll use to join the center front. As you can see, the legs are really wide. So that is our front part. So we are going to start by joining the center front. I'm cutting a small lining or interfacing for the armhole since this jumpsuit is sleeveless. If you notice, this jumpsuit has a belt on the waist, so I'm going to quickly cut out the belt. I'm using 4 inches by the waist measurement plus extra 5 inches. So I'm going to iron interfacing on it before I stitch it. So we are going to start by sewing the interfacing on the armhole. So we are going to place it good sides facing each other and we'll stitch it. So I'm quickly taking it to the sewing machine to stitch it, and we'll see the outcome. I've also gone ahead and cut my pockets. I'm going to put 2 pockets, one on each side. So the pocket is 8 inches, and I place my hand on it and make sure it goes round the palm. So I cut 4 pieces of this pocket. I've already gone ahead and joined the center front, leaving 1 inch before the end of the crotch curve. I've also sewn my interfacing on the armhole and notched. As you can see, it's well notched so that When we iron it, it's going to relax very well. I've also weaved the edges of the fabric to prevent it from fraying. So I'm going to fold it in and iron it very well using hemming gum. This is my hemming gum. I'm going to place it there so that it sticks. So this is the center back, the two back part pieces. We are going to put our zip at the center back. I've also put in the facing on the armhole of the back part. So I'm going to take it to the sewing machine and fix the zipper behind. After fixing my zipper, I'm going to fix the pocket. I measure 9 inches from my armhole downwards, and I'm going to notch. That is where the pocket will start. So I'm going to place the pocket good sides facing each other, and I'll use my pins to pin it. And I'll do same for the other side. 9 inches from the armhole downwards, and I place my pocket and I pin. This is the center front. I've already joined the two pieces of the center front and well ironed. So I'm also going to place the pockets and pin. Same for the other side. Sorry, I had to go off camera at this point. I'm just placing the pockets same as the other side. So I've taken it to the sewing machine and stitch it. These are the pockets already fixed on each side. I've also gone ahead and stitched the zipper. This is the zipper. So after the zipper, I continued joining the crotch curve right to the end, but I left 1 inch before the end of the crotch curve. So now I'm going to join the two pieces. I place the front on the back, good sides facing each other, and I'm going to stitch the shoulder lines first, and after that I'm going to join the side lines including the pockets. So I'm going to go down, I go round the pocket and I continue going down, and the same thing for the other side. You stitch down, you go around the pocket and you continue. So let me take it to the machine and do the stitching. So this is our jumpsuit. Shoulders already joined together. That's the armhole. You can see our pocket already stitched. So the next thing I'm going to do is to join the legs, the inseam, starting from the ankle upwards right through to the end. After joining one leg, I'm also going to join the other leg, also starting from the ankle and sewing upwards to the end. After that, I'm going to complete the crotch curve from front to back. You can see our pocket already stitched. So now I have to hem the legs. I have to fold it in and hem it for both legs. For our belt, I'm going to iron interfacing. This is the interfacing I'm going to use. I'm going to use this stay, iron it and sew it all through and turn it out. So this is the belt. I've already turned it and ironed it. I'm also going to fix a belt buckle on it. So we have our jumpsuit here almost done. I've also gone ahead and hemmed the legs and ironed as well. You can see it looking neat. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to fix the neck. And the neck for this jumpsuit is a rolled up neckline. So we are going to measure the neck circumference on the dress. So we are measuring it all round before we do the cutting. So I've measured it all round. And we are going to place another fabric and cut out the neck. Take note, we are going to fold the fabric on a bias form so that the neck should relax well since it's a rolled up neckline. For this neckline, I'm using 5 inches for the width by the neck circumference as measured on the dress. That's 5 inches by width, and the length is the neck circumference. So after measuring, I'm going to quickly cut it out. So you can see our rolled up neckline. Now we are going to fix it on the dress, but before fixing it, we are going to close up the 2 edges. I've closed up the edges. We're going to trim it off, trim the edges, trim off the allowance, and then we are going to turn it out before fixing on the neck. I'm going to have it well pressed. So after ironing it, I'm going to start fixing it on the neckline. I'll start by placing one side and I stitch one side all round. I'm going to arrange it all round and stitch it. After that, before we stitch the other side. So I've stitched one side and we are going to close up the other side and top stitch. So we are going to close it like so and we are going to top stitch. So I'm done with this stitching. This is the neckline. So we are going to roll it over like so to get our rolled up neckline. So I'm going to give it a good press and our jumpsuit is ready. So here we have our jumpsuit. It's ready. I'm going to put it on our mannequin to see how beautiful it looks. You can see our jumpsuit without any half length. Looking so beautiful. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more interesting and educative tutorials on Carol Creations online tutorials. Please kindly subscribe, like, share, and comment on my videos. Please support my channel. Thank you.